Everybody, and welcome to my guide to the Celestial Doppelganger build for the Doppelganger DLC character. It is the Handsome Jack body double. I will show you both what talent points to spec into in this video and what gear to use. And I will also tell you what the best way is to fight with this build. So this has worked like a charm for me on Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, and soon it can make you a Super Jack as well. Just don't go and be a super jackass with it. Unless you're funny with it, in which case it's totally okay. Now, this build is set up around three core talents: Collaborate, Fast Foot Forward, and Leadership to tie it all together. This will ensure that every time a Digijack dies, all your kill skills will trigger, your action skill duration is extended by 5 seconds, and both you and your Digijacks deal 150% increased damage. And that's not even accounting for the increased fire rate, accuracy, and money is power stacks, or any potential weapon buffs you are going to get. So when it all stacks up together, you are going to be doing at least 200-250% increased damage, along with your Digijacks doing 100% increased damage. So that is fantastic. I must mention though that to complete this build you need to be level 50 or higher, although you can work towards it if you are at lower level, but it won't be nearly as effective as it is now, obviously. So you need to be level 50 to complete it, or above, in which case you can spend some extra talent points. But at level 50, you will have exactly enough talent points to complete this build. So let's get started by looking at the talents. First of all, we have Collaborate. This is whenever a Digijack dies, you gain a stack of Collaborate. You and your Digijacks gain a damage bonus equal to the number of Collaborate stacks you have. All Collaborate stacks are lost when your action skill ends. So per stack you will get a 10% bonus, and your Digijacks as well, to your damage. With the maximum stacks that is 100%. And the thing with this build is we will be making our Digijacks die as much as possible. Both our enemies will be killing them and we will be trying to make them respawn. Just by moving around a little bit, you can make them just despawn and respawn right next to you, because if you move too far away, they will just die and respawn next to you. So it is very simple to get this up to 10 stacks in any fight. So just move around a bit and you will be at 10 stacks in no time. Then we go into teamwork. If an ally enters fight for your life or a Digijack dies, you regenerate health for a few seconds. This effect can stack up to 10 times. Regeneration rate 5%, max health per second. Now at 10 stacks that's 50%, and that is massive health regeneration every time one of your Digijacks dies. Considering we are trying to make them die and respawn, you are going to be healing a hell of a lot. Now, kill skill. Killing an enemy grants increased weapon damage and critical damage for a short time. So this is a straight up damage buff, giving you 30% extra damage and 30% extra critical damage. So this is going to trigger as well every time one of your Digijack dies, as with later on the leadership skill, it will make every Digijack that dies count as an actual kill. So every kill skill we are speccing into will trigger whenever a Digijack dies or you kill something. Then the next thing we go into will be winning. We need to spend one more point to be able to continue further down this tree. And at level 50, I would suggest you put 1 point into winning. Don't put 5 in. I've done that because I am above level 50 and I can afford to put more points in there. But as you are level 50, start with 1 point in here. It is an important skill because every time one of your Digijacks dies, You will get 5% of your shield back, and you get a, I believe, 4% movement speed bonus at one point. Now, the movement speed bonus is nice, but not crucial. The shield restore, however, will be crucial. I will show you later on with the gear we are using. This is a very good talent to have. It will give you additional survivability, and it will just help you out a lot during any sort of fight, be it a boss fight or a mob fight. Then Believe, another kill skill. Killing an enemy increases your weapon damage, fire rate, reload speed, and accuracy for a short time. So that is 25% on weapon damage and 20% on the rest. So a huge damage boost across the board for only 5 talent points. That's a no-brainer, obviously. Leadership. So this is the one that's gonna tie this entire build together very nicely. When a Digijack dies, it counts as if you had killed an enemy. So that's what's gonna trigger all those kill skills. This can grant you a second wind as well. Second wind can be granted only once per action skill use. So if you are in fight for your life and one of your Digijacks dies, you will get your second wind. So that is really nice. You don't actually have to kill something. We all know how often you find yourself in fight for your life facing a wall with nothing to kill. Well, one of your Digijacks can die and then boom, there you go. You have your second wind. Really helpful. Then another very important talent, and the only one we will be speccing into in this tree, is Best Foot Forward. While your action skill is active, killing an enemy increases the action skill's duration. This skill has diminishing returns, but let me tell you, those diminishing returns are negligible. I can finish fights with over 90% of my time left on my action skill, and that'll be big boss fights. So, you know, those diminishing returns aren't all that diminishing. But you get plus 5% for every Digijack that dies or for every kill you make. Now, please do not go giving your Digijacks a shield or extra health or whatever. The whole point is that they die as often as possible, because this will boost you and your Digijacks. So do not give them more health or more survivability. That's the worst you can do with this build. Then in the free enterprise tree, we're gonna spec that all the way to the bottom. We have high frequency trading, increasing weapon swap speed. This is a crucial talent that we are gonna need for this build and the combat style we will be playing here. So get this, you might not like weapon swap speed, but it is crucial to this build and the combat style. It will become clear later. So just get this even if you don't really see the point in it just yet. Incentives. Swapping weapons increases fire rate for a short time. Each stack lasts 10 seconds and all stacks are lost if you do not swap weapons after 10 seconds. Fire rate bonus 20% per stacks with maximum 4 stacks. That is an 80% fire rate bonus that you can have by just swapping weapons. Now that is significant and that will really increase your DPS. Later on, we will also have a talent that will make us not consume ammunition, so you don't burn through clips way too fast, maximizing your DPS uptime and your DPS output. And with this build, that's the beauty of it, you will have very little to no downtime on your DPS. That's why this weapon swap speed is so important. While you are switching weapons, that will be basically your only DPS downtime, and you want that to be as short as possible. So get this, it is really important. Then marginal benefit. Throwing a grenade has a chance to reload all equipped weapons. With the class mod, this comes out at 90% chance to reload all magazines for all four of your equipped weapons. So this means that you can just empty your first weapon, switch to your second weapon, empty that, switch to your third weapon, empty that, switch to your fourth weapon, empty that, throw a grenade, and they will all be reloaded. You go back to your first weapon and boom, rinse and repeat. You will never really have to do a manual reload and you can constantly be firing, maximizing your DPS output and making your reloads DPS as well. It'll become sort of like a TDR reload. Instead, you're throwing a grenade. Then, money is power is one of those other crucial points we are gonna spec into. Picking up money grants you a money is power stack. You gain increased damage with all gun types for every money is power stack you currently have. All stacks are lost upon dying or spending money. Max of 999 stacks and 0.25% per stack. Now 0.25% per stack may not seem like a lot, but if you get this to 999 stacks, that does add up to a total increase in damage output by 249.75%. Now, you're not very often going to get it to 999, but it is very easy to get it up to 100 or 200, and that will give you a 50% damage increase. So, on top of what you already have, that is very significant, and you will be at any given time be dealing at least 200% of your normal damage on top of your normal damage, I mean. So that is very significant and this does stack up really quick. The only downside is you cannot buy ammunition, you cannot play the one-armed bandits in Moxie's bar or in that quest where you have to destroy the echo recordings and you have to pull that one-armed bandit to make one echo recording pop up. I made that mistake with almost 600 stacks and it really hurt losing them all just for that quest. So be careful with that. Do not spend any money. It is, however, fine to sell your stuff. You can do that. Just do not buy anything. No ammunition or weapons or anything. So that is crucial. One nice thing though, if you go into fight for your life and you do get second wind, your stacks will still be there. They will not disappear when you go into fight for your life and you do get second wind. So that is really nice. Then absolute advantage, another kill skill. Killing an enemy causes your shots to have a chance to not consume ammo for a short time. Rocket launchers have reduced chance to not consume ammo. But we do not use rocket launchers with this build, so that's no problem. Free ammo chance, 40%. Now this is gonna trigger all the time. So even with that increased fire rate of 80%, and from the other kill skills, that's another 30%, I believe, and then another 20%. So that's 130% increase in fire rate. Now you're gonna go through clips really fast, so you want this. So sometimes you will be firing and you won't be consuming ammo. This makes your clips last more than a few seconds at least, so that's good. And then last but not least, we are going to go into sponsored by. Your gun gains a manufacturer bonus based on the last gun you held in your hands. Now most of the time we will be using Maliwan weapons, but you can add some Jacobs weapons to it as well. Most of the time I just use two lasers. I switch between a frost and a shock laser. But if you want, you can have, for example, a Jacobs sniper rifle or shotgun or both to put in your weapon slots. And the beauty of it is if you switch from a Molly one to a Jacobs weapon, it will take on the elemental effect of the last weapon you used. So if you use the frost laser and you switch to your Jacobs shotgun, that shotgun will do 25% of its damage as frost damage, which is really great if you want to freeze enemies, because a frozen enemy cannot attack you. And likewise, if you switch back from a Jacobs to a Maliwan weapon, your Maliwan weapons will do 30% more weapon damage. Now that is significant as well. So Jacobs and Maliwan, they are really great together, and those are the two brands you want to be using with this build. So let's go on to the gear. See what I am using here. I am using three variations of the Torniol Rosie, each with a different element on them. Mostly I only use the Frost and the Shock for shields. I also have a corrosive one for the odd armored enemy. And then I have a shotgun. Sometimes I swap this one out for a sniper rifle as well. What you want is the highest damage sniper rifle you can get. So, then we go into the class mod. Obviously, you're gonna want the Celestial Doppelganger class mod. Why? Because firing your weapon increases your accuracy. And now the main problem with the Torniol Rosie is that after firing it for a few seconds, it becomes so uncontrollable. It's like a ghostbuster trying to catch a ghost on the ceiling. So it doesn't work very well. But with this class mod, this Torniol Rosie will become so accurate, it's like firing a railgun. It is unbelievable, and you can just keep blasting and blasting, and it will stay controllable. That is why I have three of them. I just empty the magazine on my first one, I switch to my second one, I empty the magazine on that one, toss a grenade, go back to my first one, empty the magazine again, switch to my second one, empty the magazine, toss a grenade, it reloads everything again, boom. And I just keep switching. It'll give me the fire rate buff, it will give me all the buffs for all the kill skill buffs, because your digijacks are dying along the way. So you have a humongous damage output. Also, this Celestial Doppelganger class mod increases your elemental effect damage by 37%. So elemental weapons are really what you want. Then critical damage 38%. That's really nice when you're using a sniper rifle. But mostly we want this for the obviously the +5s on all the important talents, and firing your weapon increases your accuracy, making the Torniol Rosie just about the best gun you can have with this build. So I suggest you find out how to get three of these, or two, at least two of these, with Frost and Shock. Those are the main ones you are going to want. And then you can additionally put in here whatever you like. Then for the O2 kit, the Eddy, the best O2 kit overall for any build in my opinion, but especially for this one, as it gives us 27.7% extra laser damage. As we will mostly be using lasers, obviously that is just a massive, massive boost. It also has the additional shield capacity, which comes in handy with the Reogenator shield we will be using. And it has a big O2 capacity, so that is always nice as well. And then it also occasionally performs repairs on your shield and life support systems, and will drop you a care package when you kill enemies. Now this care package can contain anything from ammo to cash to health. So ammo is useful for obvious reasons, health just the same, and the cash it drops will give you stacks of money as power. So absolutely the best O2 kit you can get with this build. Then for the grenade, I prefer personally the sticky longbow cryo leech. You can go with whatever grenade you want, to be honest. This has, in my opinion, the best benefits. It will leech health. It does cryo damage, which freezes enemies, and I like grenades that spawn child grenades. So for me, this is a very good grenade. So you're free to change this out with something else if you want. It will not really impact the build much in any way. Then last but not least, we come to the shield. Now, it has a very low capacity, but it compensates that by healing your health, and the health regeneration increases the lower your shield is. So if you are at very low shield or your empty shield, you will regenerate so much health, especially in combination with the talents we have, that most of the time you will be healing more than your enemies can do damage to you. Unless they one-shot you with one of their big hits, but usually they are avoidable, and that rarely happens, so you don't really go into fight for your life that much unless you're playing Rambo style. But yeah, this Reogenator shield is really good with this build. It also gives you just over 7k more health. It has 86% elemental resistance. That's why that winning skill was so important. If your shield runs out, you will lose this elemental resistance. Now, every time you kill something or a Digijack dies, you will regenerate some of your shield and that resistance will kick back in. So you will negate 86% of most of the damage that is in the game, as most bosses and a lot of the enemies are doing elemental damage to you. The recharge delay is 1.65 seconds, so that is really fast, and the recharge rate is 1232, which is pretty high. So that's it for this build, guys. I hope it works as well as it does for me. I hope you learned something at least. And if you like my video, I would really appreciate it if you give it a like, you subscribe to my channel, just leave a comment. It motivates me to put out more more videos, and more content. And I will also make a video later on telling you how to farm the 3DD1E or Eddie O2 kits. So get me some likes, guys, and I will put out a video on how to farm this one. So thank you for watching, everyone. Until next time, goodbye.